Welcome back to another episode of the Shut Your Mouth podcast. My name is Jules Salofa, and I also have the wonderful Sarah Fata co-hosting with me, joined by our special guests, Rachel Nolan and Jackson Salofa.
Let's go.
Welcome to you both.
Hello.
Welcome.
For those who don't know, Rachel, Paul, who is Rachel's partner, Jackson and I are a blended family. 20 years, yes, 20 years in the making. And we share our story in the hope to provide value to anyone who is walking the same or a similar journey, or maybe if you're watching this episode, you or someone you know is about to embark on becoming a blended family. So before we actually became a blended family, our special guests, Jackson and Rachel, are here to share their story of life before our blended family came to be. Before we kick off, I just want to thank you both for taking the time and effort to be here today to tell your story.
You're welcome.
Now, I am well aware that some things will be discussed today may be triggering for you both. And if you need space and time, please say so we can take a break, or we can break as needed. Is that okay?
Yep.
Cool. Who would like to start?
Jules, can you tell us what the did we discuss what the title of this episode is called?
Yes, this episode is called The Hidden Truth.
Saucy.
It is.
Saucy.
Barbecue saucy
Who
or
wants
tomato
the
saucy?
barbecue sauce, eh? Or the hot sauce, eh? Yeah, hot and spicy, mate. Need a drink.
Who's gonna lead the way?
Oh, yeah, well.
Well,
Ladies first.
at least first. I'll start off, hey. So the truth is, how the beginning of life with Tamika Salofa, our daughter. And this will be the first time I'm actually really talking about this, and it's just to put things in perspective as to who I was, what I was at the age of 21. And it feels like it is a touchy subject and a very uncomfortable subject. So there'll be many people that will be listening to this or seeing this, and people that may know me may think differently about me, but that's okay. I'm ready to talk about it. So I fell pregnant with Tamika, and it was a big secret. Very sad, but a very, very big secret. I didn't know that I was pregnant. I didn't know that I was pregnant. Being pregnant and walking with her inside me was scary, very scary and tough. You know, you think you're an adult, a grown person that knows a lot of things. I didn't know very much about stuff. Although I do have an older child. That story was very different compared to this one. So I fell pregnant. I hid my pregnancy from Jackson, my parents, and everybody that knew me. It's actually quite it's sad. It's very, very sad in the way that Tamika came into the world. When I had a feeling that I was pregnant, that I was freaking out because I didn't understand, like, participate in grown-up games, you know. I didn't know that I was pregnant with her, and I walked around like by myself. And in my family, it was tough on me, always tough on me. Tough love, but so tough that you hear parents talk about tough love. Mine was tough love, where it's, for me, anything bad that I did was wrong. So my mother was super hard on me in a way, made me feel like, oh, man, I just fucked up again. Like, I fucked up again. I messed up again. I am pregnant. I had to hide it, like, in secrecy by myself. I felt like I could never turn to anybody. You know, you often hear your parents say, oh, you can tell me anything. But when you're in an island family, you're not sure. Like, they encourage you to tell the truth. Sometimes you hide the truth because you're scared. You're literally scared. You're either going to get a bash, get a scolding, like a hiding of some sort, and you're made to feel little. Well, that's how I felt. I felt little with this pregnancy. It wasn't until when I started feeling and showing a bump, the numerous times that I could have turned to someone, didn't have really anybody to turn to ask for help. Not even my own mom, because of the way that she was towards me, that I couldn't turn to her. And for a long time, like, I made myself small. I was still playing sport, still going out with Jackson, still doing things as normal. And I tend to think that, my body was kind of, in a way, trying to hide me and make me small to not be seen. It wasn't until I actually didn't know when I was going to be due. So I didn't know much. Like, believe me, when I'm saying this, I really didn't know much back then. I didn't. The evening of Tamika's birth, there was no one home. It was just me at home. Oh, actually, no, I lie. I was at home. I had my cousin at home, and my son was home too. And, like, I didn't know what was going on in my body. I didn't know that I was going into labor. I was going into labor, and I was freaking out because I had no idea what to do except call the ambulance. Call the ambulance. This would have been like about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was in pain and whatnot. And I ran to my cousin and said, listen, can you please, I'm going to the hospital. I didn't tell him exactly why. So, yep, can you please look after my child while I'm gone? And then they turned up. Ambulance turned up, and they asked me all these questions about how long, and I had no idea. They said, oh, you're giving birth now. Do you know how far you are? I go, no, I don't. And I'm in the ambulance. We're rushing to the hospital, to the city, hospital in the city. They checked me and said, no, you're going to have this baby now. So they turned around and zoomed me down to QE2 hospital. And she was crowning and I was ready to give birth. And this is when QE2 hospital didn't have a maternity ward. So I ended up giving birth in the QE2 hospital in the emergency ward. So I had all these doctors around me like, oh, you're going to have this baby, and this is me by myself, knowing that I have no one here. There's no one to be by myself going through this. So I gave birth to my child on my own in this emergency ward. Had her. I'm looking at her, feeling like I'm in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. No, I'm going to get in trouble. What is Jackson going to think of me? What is my family going to think of me? What is my mum going to think of me? A disappointment that would come with that. So they zipped me off to Mater Hospital, and I'm lying there ready to go into another room. And Jackson was out with my brothers. So I can't even remember that much. All I knew was just that he was out. And I'm in this hospital with this baby girl, this baby. And Jackson arrives and walks through the door. And like, oh, man. Just like, all I could think about was, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then my brother walks in behind him, and you can see his face just like mortified, like, what the hell? When did this happen? Like, I'm, on his face, you can see, and I'm feeling like my brother's disappointed in me too. And I don't really remember much on that woods because of what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I do see Jackson holding Tamika, looking at her, and everything in my head is like going, oh, what is he thinking? Will he love her? Will he, will he look after her? Will he accept this has happened? And into the next morning, I'm in hospital, in a ward, all set up, and like to myself, like I'm like in my head, like, oh man, I've got to face the world now. I've got to face my parents, Jackson's parents. All these people are going to ask questions. And Jackson's mum, Nana, she was the only face that came in, and she was like, oh, sad, but at the same time smiling, looking at me like, sort of like saying to me, she's here now. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Probably the only first person that really didn't like get at me, judge me, yell at me, or say anything mean to me. She was the only one that came in with these clothes and blankets for our girl. Because I had nothing. Because when you don't know what to do, and you can't come all at me and fight me and say, oh, you would have known. I go, no, I did not know. I didn't know how to parent. Although I had a child, I only knew what I knew then. And the ride home, going back home to my mum and dad, all I remember is driving to my home, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I know that they're not going to be happy at all. I walk in, and I'm holding this baby, and I'm crying my eyes out because I'm facing my mum and dad, feeling shit scared, like the disappointment that I am to them. My dad was furious. My mom was angry too. Like the things were, how could you? Why? All this time. All this time you're carrying this baby and you couldn't tell us. Just anger and rage by both my parents. And like I felt like a coward. Like a real coward. That I couldn't tell them. This poor baby, like I've got in my arms. Like she didn't ask to come into this world, but she did. And I had no loving people around me. No one. And that's because of what I did, how I went about this. Yeah, my dad was just I gave Tamika to him, and he just looked sad, but holding her. My mom was just in my ear, just this and that and this and that. I just didn't hear, just couldn't. Just all I could feel was just disappointment, and all I wanted to do was hide myself from my family, like be little somewhere with this child. Like I've become a mother second time round, and it's not what it was meant to be, but it was what it was. Lots of people can turn around and tell me, like, you could have known. Like, I didn't know. I really did not know until I started feeling something in my stomach. Hiding the secret. That's it. It was very, very, I wouldn't say traumatic. It was just a very hard experience to do something on your own, a young woman. Because, you always hear about things, girls getting around, messing around, getting pregnant. Growing up, my parents would turn around and say to me, you better not get pregnant. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know what that is. Like, because island families don't talk to their girls about what sex is. They don't talk about it. They just immediately say, don't mess around with boys. Don't get pregnant, and not talking about that stuff. Although, I'm talking about this, and I have a son, an older boy. But there's no love and kindness in being spoken about those things when you're a girl, when you're a young lady. It just comes with, like, getting pregnant is the worst thing in the world. So I felt like being pregnant with her was the worst thing in the world for everybody around me. Like a big disappointment. Okay. But everybody accepted it and moved on with it. I had no other choice but to mother up and move. I couldn't, start feeling sorry for myself. And I had to just get on with being a mum and do it. My mum eventually came around and started just helping me, nappies and everything and clothes. It took some time for everybody to accept it, but eventually they did over time. But I'm not thinking this is me back then not thinking about how this is affecting everybody else, like Jackson. You know. But to this day, you know, often people ask, "Oh, you know, what was it like? What was it like with you know, your oldest kid, you know, Tamika?" That, like, it kind of, I get like, you just have to like, oh, I could never talk about
You
it.
don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tell anybody about it. Because it comes with some really, it's like you've stained yourself pretty much. You don't want to talk about that. Or people will judge you. And immediately, I know there's lots of people in my family and my friend circle that judged me. And I'm okay with that. Like, the worst thing I could have done, I could have had her and abandoned her. Or if I knew that I was pregnant, I could have aborted her. I'm just going to say, I didn't even know what abortion was, you know. There were options out there, but I didn't know any of them. So, yeah, I had to just live and just do, and Jackson just went with it. And I never knew how he felt or what was going through his head. I never knew. I never asked him. And it seems quite very, very selfish not to have. So, like, it's like looked at doing something without consequences. And like sometimes some of the stuff, like with our parenting, I always think about that, on what his thoughts. And a lot of the reason with me just going with things is because of that. From day one. Like, I would just let Jackson have, yes, yep. Because that sits in the back of my mind of what I did to him or how I didn't tell him. And I know that there are times where it was quite very awkward between us. Like, back then you're young and you don't know how to talk about stuff. You can't have a conversation about stuff. You just would argue and fight, and then walk away like nothing happened, and then get back together and play happy families. Where I know that having this girl in secrecy was the turning point in the relationship I had with Jackson. And I accepted that. Hence why this story of mine is, I had to find some love and compassion at some time in my life to accept this part of me. And if I'm staying true to my heart, I don't regret having her. I don't, because she has a beautiful story. Our family. That's why we have a strong bond. I have a strong bond between Julie and Jackson and Paul. Because the day that I brought her in, I was by myself. And I'm not by myself anymore. I haven't been by myself. I had you three. And celebrating her 21st was a massive healing part for our family. That we don't have to, like, I don't have to hide myself. I can be straightforward in who I am, being her mother, with everybody presently. That she's not a secret. She's not a mistake. She happened. It's the most beautiful gift that we created. So I'd like to deeply apologize to Jackson for the many years of you carrying all of this till now. But I know that you've done such a great job being her father when you weren't even asked at the beginning. But yeah, I do. Like, I'm very sorry how I apologize for what happened then by not being able to tell you about it. And I guess I never really told you about it. And it probably didn't held me back from having more children in my life, because it always came with a price. Always came with something that I would lose, or this person would walk out of my life. But that is the big secret of the story, starting with me.
Rach, I just want to really honour you for standing here in such conviction and courage to share that story. And I know, just hearing from what you're sharing, that that wouldn't have been easy. And I know that there could be a lot of bystanders listening in today or watching today and thinking, how could anyone do that? Like, how could anyone carry that and not share that? Or, there was so much in that story where, it sounded so lonely. And then on the flip side, you've got, somebody that wasn't afforded the opportunity to know as well, that had a right to know, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is that, as a parent, the one goal in my parent life would be to always ensure that my daughter can come to me at the worst of times, at the best of times. And you weren't afforded that. And the whole reason why you journeyed that journey alone was because you didn't feel safe to go to your parents. And everything that you were worried about when you gave birth was validated by your parents. They did not accept that. You kept saying disappointment. I can't imagine how burdensome that would have felt growing up all your life to believe, even though that's not the truth, that you were a disappointment. And I can understand that. I can understand hearing you, how you dissociated from the reality because it was easier to bear for you to cope. And I can hear that. And I'm sorry that you had to do that and what felt very lonely at the time. And I want to commend you because 21 years on, guys, you celebrated your daughter. That one miracle that you guys didn't even know was the miracle you needed, that was going to bring you guys together. So I honor you in standing in your conviction and telling that story, because that is not easy. And the one thing about what I love about storytelling is that you reclaim your shame. There is no shame no more. There's no secrets no more. Secrets cannot live in the truth or in the light. So I honor you for that.
Thank you.
And that's not easy.
No.
And that's what makes this story even more special, to know that you collectively, you raised and created this life, even though it was one that you weren't prepared for. But 21 years on, you're standing here in a bloody podcast room talking about your story. And so a few pennies dropped for me when Far out. Sorry, Jackson. I did not know the hidden truth. And so I asked earlier, did you have any prior discussions before Tim came along? Wow. Did I get the answer for that? And I know that you had your reasons, your rhyme and your reasons as to why you did what you did. Because that's all you could do at the time. That's all you'd known. In 21 years, I'm like in perspective, 21 years, Tamika's 21. And then Jackson, 19, was it at the time? 19, 20? Jackson, what does that feel like to hear? To hear what was going on for Rachel, but let alone like what was going on for you, just a young boy, and you had no clue, or we're not even included into like what was going on at the time. Like I can't even imagine. Yeah, we take for granted and we've got these gender roles as to like what we expect of each other in the world. One thing to not have any clue about what was going on or how your life was just about to change, and versus like how young you were, and you know, yeah, like the gender roles at play. Like what? I can't. There's no other way to ask this. Like, what was going on for you, Jackson?
A lot of things, honestly. I mean, it was, it was. Oh well, I was probably in shock for a while there. I was feeling a lot of different emotions and feelings. You know, because like as Rich was saying, I was out with her brothers at the time, and when we got home, you know, the Rich's youngest brother said, "Hey, Rich got in the ambulance, so you need to go." And like so, you know, we were all drunk. We just jumped in the car and drove down to the hospital, and then I was in complete shock when I walked through the doors there at the hospital, and one of the nurses is like, "Oh, who's Jackson?" I was like, "Hey, yeah, that's me." She's like, I remember exactly what she said. She said, "Congratulations, you're a father." I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "Oh, your partner Rachel just had a beautiful a baby girl. Congratulations." And that was it. That's how I found out. It's how I found out I was a dad. So, everything sort of just went silent. So, everything just went blank. Jumped in the car, drove to the hospital that Rachel was at, and then walked in. And then I looked at Rachel and I couldn't say anything. I had nothing to say. And so I looked at my daughter and just picked her up and did nothing but cry. I just stood there and bawled my eyes out, and then I left. So I didn't know what else to do. So So yeah, just shock, and was obviously a lot of different emotions and feelings. You know, anger. You know, just I guess one of the biggest questions was always why. Why was I not told about this? You know, why? And that was always the biggest question. And that was the hardest question to try and answer because I never got an answer. And I never got an answer. And I think one time at some point, Rachel said, "Oh, I just wanted to protect you from your parents." And I think that's probably just the only time I got some kind of explanation, but there was nothing else. So, you know, as a 19-year-old kid who was struggling with his own trauma, you know, finding out that you're a dad just kind of amplified things to a new level. And it was hard. It was hard to deal with, hard to cope with. Like, yeah. Yeah.
What I like, aside from, you know, having the surprise of your daughter's arrival, what is 19-year-old Jackson like? What was he going through at the time?
What was I going through
Yeah, like
as a 19-year-old?
yeah, were you in party era? Like,
Well, yeah. I just used alcohol as my escape. Trying to, you know, obviously at the time I didn't really know, but, you know, I just wanted to drink all the time because it'll help me to stop thinking about things. Yeah, things that happened to me, things that, you know, that were hard for any young person to sort of deal with. Because I was alone too. Yeah.
what does it feel like to hear Rachel tell her story about her feeling alone and knowing that you also felt alone?
Well, I mean, you didn't have to do it alone. I'm sorry that you had to do that alone, but you really didn't have to do it alone.
I'm sorry that you were alone and other things that was going on in your life.
obviously you didn't know anything that was going on because obviously as kids, as islanders, it's pretty standard that we don't share anything. Even though I had with the boys and stuff, like your brothers, I was hanging out with, all my boys into like it's. Back in those days, you don't really think about it. You don't really talk about it. You just go out and hang out with the guys that you know that keep you safe, that make you feel good. It was only all short-term stuff. It was only just to mask the deep things, the deep and hurtful things that you're trying to go through and stuff like that. And obviously, I was never in a position to try and share anything with you because, well, I didn't know how to. I'm still trying to figure out how to be a teenager, trying to go into being an adult, but yeah, it's like it's not your fault. But you didn't have to do it alone, though.
I guess, like you said, that, in most standard families, island families, you never talked about anything. You could never discuss without backlash. You could never talk to your parents about things because you'd get criticized. You don't if you love someone, you told them, when you meet someone, you want to tell them that you love them, and then it'd be like this. You don't know what love is. What do you know? You're not old enough. And that determines everything else. Like you want to tell them about this new exciting love that you're feeling, and you can't. It's like you're denied. And I guess some of that trauma, personal trauma, comes from that. Not being able to talk to your mum or your dad about things that are really going on with you. Like it's like children growing up, the first people that they really want to tell their story about how their day was or what was going on in their life is to their mum and dad first. Well, they come and tell their mum and dad about, this happened at school, bad or good. And instantly, us now, we would, shower our children with love, hugs. Then, no hugs, just hard words. You go sort it out yourself in a room by yourself. You think about what you've done or said. So I do understand about now knowing what Jackson was feeling, going through, being alone. It wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't at all.
It wasn't easy. Look, one of the hardest things really is that you took away an opportunity for me to be excited about something. Any parent or any parent to be would be excited about knowing that they're going to have a child, and all these appointments and stuff, doctor's appointments, and going to, having baby showers and stuff like that, and just being genuinely excited about having a child. Like, nothing. Makes I'm sorry that you were alone. You felt alone, that you felt like you couldn't talk to anybody. But at that time, I was there. And I was so in love with you, Rach. And I was genuinely happy when I was with you. And you know how many people would say, hey, when you guys are together, you guys are awesome, you guys are so happy. And it was genuine. It always was. Whenever we went out, did something, we were always happy. We had fun. The boys were happy with you. Everybody who went around us was happy. But, thank you for sharing. Like, obviously, it just helps to put things into perspective. Like, it took me a long time to figure it all out. It took me a long time because, all of this secret stuff, like this, it's, like I said, it amplified the trauma within me to a level that was so bad, that was so toxic, that it spread onto my marriage with Jules and my relationship with Jules, and that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair on her. It wasn't fair on Jules. And look, again, thank you for sharing. I'm really sorry that you did have to do this alone. You felt like you were alone. I just only wish you didn't.
And I am very grateful that you're sharing sharing yourself today. And I am genuinely sorry for the things that you had gone through into your marriage with your family. I am deeply. And there's nothing else I can say except that I am. And I hope that you know that when I say that I love you, I very much do. I do. Very much do. So when it came to particular things, I didn't want to ruin anything because of what I have already done.
So are you saying, Rach, that because, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the guilt that weighed with you because of how Tamika's life started out, that there was things that you felt like you would sacrifice because of that guilt?
Yes.
Can you talk to us more about, like, what are some of the things that you...
Like the guilt, carrying around the guilt, like when it came to parenting stuff, things, like I try to be as very accepting, whatever he would want to do, or what he would suggest, or with Jules I would, because of that guilt.
And I admit I used that to my advantage when we split up. As I said, I'm taking her with me. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And then when someone says that, what do? You just do.
Bite your tongue
Yeah.
and let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to accept it and be okay with it. Like, and then you're sitting with lots of things, like lots of inward talk. Inward, like not great. Like, you know, you're a mum, you're terrible. You just want to make people happy. And that was my way of making myself happy. Not looked at as me being a walkover. It's because I felt like I had to be. I did that for a reason. Like, I know in the back, I know that I'm not a bad person. I made some poor choices. Lots of poor choices. But I just had to, like, stand up to them and own it. Every inch of me. And not look. It's one of the things that I've learned in my life since then. Is to own everything about you. And don't look away from it. Like, believe me, it stayed with me for a long time until I could feel comfortable with what happened. It happened. I can't take anything back. Because if I took everything, all of it back, this would not exist. Like, personally, from like traumatic experience, and it is the way, this is why I am the way that I am, like with my family, with my own personal relationship with my mother. Like, with my children, I let them have that relationship with their father because of my own, because I'm not. I was adopted into a family. And when you're different, when you're not of the same, you grow up feeling that you're not the same. You grow up with the difference between, like, there's always going to be a different, that's them and that's me. And it's always been me on my own. Through my childhood, through my teenage years. It's not hating on my family. This is my experience. This is what I went through. Like, I have a great relationship with my family and a long time coming relationship with my own mother. Because I tell you, me and my mum, I loved her, but I hated her so much because all I wanted was her love. It's all I wanted. Hence, I am the way that I am. Like, doing life, growing up through my childhood to my teens, it was, like I said before, lots of things were taken away from you. You had to just be okay with it. Something good happens, it's not good enough. When you're a girl too, lots of stuff comes with shame. So much shame. And then you're made to feel little every single time. You have to you can't have good things. You can't have better things in your choices. I made so many fucked up choices as a young woman. So many mistakes. I made so many, but I have learned to cope with it very much on my own. You sit by yourself, go through it on your own. And you're playing with stuff in your head, going back and forth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Is it not good enough? It's not good enough. That was shit. And then people tell you. you know, like especially your mum and dad, like telling you. And then it goes away, like nothing ever happened. And then everything's okay again. But you know, in the back of your head, when you've made mistakes, everybody remembers you as that person stuck in time. Like honestly, there are people that think of me as that person back then. You hid a secret. This is you. This is how you behave, and these are the choices you made. I'm gonna keep remembering you as that person. Not knowing what I previously went through and what my life is. I am no longer that person. You know, I'm walking a little bit prouder these days with my chest.
Come on.
My head up. You know, with my thoughts and my feelings and my words. Because I never really had a chance to say how I felt then. It was always kept inside. And that's why I'm an emotional person. I'm a loving person because everything generates from love. I'm a loving person. And people look down on you when you are so loving and kind in your words. But I choose to be this way because it's me. It's easier. But I don't intentionally want to hurt people. If I knew what I knew today, I would probably have made a better choice. I probably would have told him. But I didn't have the courage, and I was so weak. But I have the courage today to own my things, own my stuff, and I'm okay with that.
And I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of you
I'm
too.
so proud of you for telling your story today. And I'm so proud of my husband for
Like-
saying what you said. Because the reality is they have not had a conversation.
No.
This is the first
This is the first time
ever laid on the
that they have actually spoken about what had happened with Tamika the day she was born. So for me, I'm like, guys, you need to talk. Come on. We need to have a
Jules.
conversation. We need to talk about these things.
Let's just jump on a podcast and do a
Honestly.
healing session, hey?
Because I'm part of this family now. And we need to talk about this stuff. Because I believe it brings healing. Stuff that's like left in the dark will fester in the dark. And I believe, I'm so proud of you guys. Like,
You know what? Before we started, I went to Jackson. I said to him, I want you to just tell it how you, in your, like, be honest about everything. I'm okay with it. I want him to know that. Like, this doesn't, like, I'm hearing him for the first time and I'm opening up to it and accepting that this is his words and his feelings. That is right to feel this way. You can't deny someone about how they feel and what was going on for him. Like, hearing it for the first time. Like, I knew today that I'd be hearing things for the first time, be confronting, but accept these things with love.
yeah.
With love. Accept it with love. Just complete love and understanding and compassion. Because we're not these people today, but hearing the truth is freedom.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. I do. I feel good. Good in a way of, like, my heart has just gotten bigger.
Because who knew your story? Who knew your truth? No one.
No
Or was a few people?
Probably just Paul.
Just Paul.
I could never tell my brothers or like my aunties.
So you've never spoken to your
No,
family about...
No, because it's sort of like it's a touchy subject. Like, it's sort of like they're thinking what they're thinking. they've already painted their perspective of me if they knew about this. So there are some people that just don't know. But people in my family are going to find out today for the first time about my experience with Tamika.
Because there are people out there who have their own perception or story in their heads or view of what actually happened, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, I'm having a little giggle, but I shouldn't. You know, even can I talk about that?
Go for it.
Like, even like it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't think about that. Then I'm thinking, do you know something about me that I don't know? I don't know. But even does Jackson know about this?
What are you talking about?
About a family member, like.
Yep, we're
Yep.
going to keep it at family member.
Okay, family member. About Jackson being the father, the birth father of Tamika. I'm just going to put it straight that it's quite obvious. Like, I'm happy to like do that if Jackson would like to. Tamika, she'd be okay. She'd be all good with it, but getting a test to seeing that whether or not Jackson is the father. And I'm like, that caught me off guard. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so there were speculations made about Jackson being the father when I had come into the picture. So my question was, I think his family members, not going to name any names, were encouraging him to go get a paternity test. Like, you know, you didn't know your girlfriend was pregnant. She's popped up with this baby. Like, and with every right, like, if that was me, I would say the same thing, Rach. I would be like, is that your baby? And that's what the speculations were.
Yep.
And that's what I had been told. So I'm like, okay, like, are you the father? It's like being on the Jerry Springer show, you know?
Say that to you.
Yes. There was
just
a
crack
point.
up because if you see their socials and you see her in between Jackson and Rach, like, there is no doubt. There is no need for her paternity test.
Yes.
You can tell she's quite even.
Yes.
Just saying, she does not even look like me. She's
And
like
I
a
was-
fella.
She has both of you,
Yeah,
but you can definitely tell.
Definitely.
it's-
And I would jokingly say to Rach, I said to her, Rach, are you sure? Because I don't want anybody, another guy calling up and saying, I'm the father.
Like, I know, I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure.
But
Positive.
Rach said, I remember, because I had it on my mind for so many years, because we're all sitting with this uncertainty, right? Not just us, like our daughter as well. Like she was told by, I think, a member of your family what had happened, how she had come along.
Yeah.
So if a child is told that, they would be like questioning.
Questioning, yeah, like
Who
questioning.
is my father? Like, does anybody know?
Yeah. Ugh.
So I remember texting Rach at a point in our relationship that I was comfortable enough to ask her and be like, straight up, is Jack's the father or what? Like, right?
Yeah, and then I reply, what is this, the Jerry Springer show?
Yeah, she was like, are we on the Maury or Jerry Springer show? And I'm like, no, you're on the Jules Salofa show. You're on the Shush Your Mouth podcast show.
Oh, yeah.
And I think your reply to me was, I'm 99.9%
sure
sure that Jackson is the father.
And I did say, like, hey, if you would like to.
Yeah. And
Oh.
she was like, if you want to do a paternity test,
Yeah,
let's do it.
let's do it.
And me being a new wife to Jax back in the days, you know, back in the very beginning, I was encouraging him, just like his family was, like, go get one. Like, do you not want to know? I would. But he was like, I know. He didn't want to. He was like, she's my daughter.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you were unsure, babe, and you said you didn't want to because
I was unsure. I just didn't care.
you didn't care. Okay. So he was unsure. I was unsure. Everybody was unsure.
I was unsure. I just didn't care.
You wasn't unsure?
I was unsure.
Oh, you
I
were
just didn't
unsure.
care. I
You just didn't care.
did
Okay.
whatever I needed to do. to be a
So
father. That's it.
he didn't care. He just claimed her. He claimed her. And for me, I was like, okay. Like, I had to go along with what he wanted. And leave it at that, you know. And then it wasn't until later on that's when I had asked you directly. I was like, okay, if everybody's having these speculations, why don't they go to Rach and ask them herself?
Yeah, because no one asked me. Well, that was the last thing on my head, to be honest. Like,
Yeah. Hearing your story now, and I think when people hear your story, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I understand. I get it.
Are you sure? Do I need to clarify it again?
And even if not, that's,
Yeah.
that's everybody else.
Yeah,
That's right. That's what I'm
It
saying
is.
is you've put your story out there, okay, and just to shut
It's
everybody
done.
else's story down.
Thank you.
Even with the paternity test. We don't need to do one. She looks like her father.
She's a
He is the father. What's the verdict, guys? Jackson, you are the father.
21 years down.
Oh, God. Like, I really have this, like, not like this feeling in my tummy that's like stirring of just like, this needed to happen.
Do you feel relieved?
I do, because I love you and I love this man too. You know, I can't, like, I think from this point onwards, like, we know what it is now. It's a part that is there. Don't have to close the door on it. It's there. We've spoken about it today. I'm okay. I'm sure Jackson's okay. And I'm sure it was...
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
No.
You're
But
not
I
okay?
will be okay.
But you will be
I'll
okay.
be okay.
You know, like, I feel I knew there was going to be a point in time with the discussions that we've had that I'm going to talk about this. But in the back of my mind, I was always unsure. I was unsure how Jackson would feel.
Look, it's easy to accept now because in my heart I had already forgiven you, because that was the only way for me to develop as a father and as a husband to Jules, is for me to actually forgive you. Because forgiveness wasn't for you, it was for me. So
Yeah.
I could be better, so I could move on, be a better father, be a better husband. And, you know, obviously hearing it today, like having a conversation about it, yeah, it sort of brings back some tears and some memories and stuff like that, but like I can process it a lot better and a lot quicker. That allows me to move forward. And it's, you know, I'm not okay right now, but I'll be okay because I know that I've done the work.
Yeah.
You know, forgiveness is there. You know, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And I know it takes a lot to be in this room today. And like you said, there's been a lot of journey in order for you to get where you are today. How did that healing look individually off cameras? Like, you talk about forgiveness, Jackson. I think it's such a rarity. People will throw forgiveness around like it's easier said than done, but it actually takes all of within you to be able to forgive somebody. Like, how did you arrive to that point, or what was your experience to advise somebody that's like sitting with that unforgiveness, or like, where would you start?
where would I start? Oh, well. Because I guess because my heart was still hurting for such a long time, you know, that hurt was being projected onto my wife, and that hurt more. To see me hurt my wife because I was hurt because of previous things that had happened, and the only reason why I was going to be able to sort of move forward was to have the courage to be able to not look at Rachel and feel resentment and feel hate and feel anything negative. And that was only going to be able to come through forgiveness. You know, it takes, you know, like you said, forgiveness is thrown around a lot of times, but some people don't understand the power behind it, the power behind forgiveness, because again, it's not for the other person, it's for you. So your heart heals a lot quicker so you can move forward and be the person that you're meant to be. Like it really has to be. There's people don't understand the power behind forgiveness. When they understand it's not for the other person, but it's for yourself, it gives you power. And it gave me the power to be a better person for myself. Not only for myself, but more so for my wife, because a lot of hurt that I felt was projected onto her, into our marriage very early. And it was tough. It was really tough on us. And, we didn't think we were going to last the first 6 months or a year. And that's how hard it was. And that's, and because I was so hurt. And so, once anybody, I guess, understands the power behind forgiveness and what it can do to your heart and what it can do to your life, and you'll only be able to manifest better things, manifest a lot more love and a lot more healing when you understand the power behind forgiveness.
Yes, family. This is where we need to get to.
That's so beautiful.
I love this.
Just I hear Jax talk about, how it manifested, like that resentment was projected on your relationship very early on. Like, I think about the both of you guys being pillars for these two people at the times that they were most in need. When I think about what can you share with us? Like, how was that for you personally? The impact of like what was being projected onto you? Like, I can't even imagine like something that predated you was something that you still had to live through. Like, what was that like?
It was crazy. It was a crazy world I had walked into, right? Newly married, shotgun wedding. I was pregnant at the time. And earlier on, I had seen red flags in this guy. So in my mind, I was like, hell no, am I going to be with him, Long story short, we got married and I had to deal with his stuff. He came with baggage, right? And from my view, it was like when I got told about the story and I got told about his version, like how he was feeling, and it made me angry, so angry that I hated her. This is why I hated her. I hated you, Rach, for this reason, right? And I resented you so much because in my mind it was that bad. Like Jack said, this marriage I did not expect to last more than 2 years. That's how bad it was. And I blamed you. I actually blamed you. But I've turned that around, and I don't blame you. I blame you, but I actually blame you also for the good things that have come out of it. Right? So from my view, it was like Rach had dropped a bomb. And I think we spoke about this a couple of days ago. She dropped a bomb. She knew she was pregnant, hit it, and then the bomb went off, and then everybody around her was expected to pick up the pieces and move on. And nothing was spoken about, like nothing. Like, I would ask Jax, so have you had a conversation about what had happened? And he's like, nothing. And in my mind, I'm like, why haven't you guys had a conversation? Like, this is a bomb. Like, have you not questioned why? Like, come on. No, nothing. So then that anger and resentment that he had sat with him, and it projected on everything in our life, our marriage, our children, everything. And I stood, like that stuff, I was telling Rach before, this stuff, you don't just get over in 1 or 2 weeks, right? It actually lingered. It stayed around for years and years and years. It lingered because he hadn't dealt with what happened. You guys hadn't talked. You guys hadn't, And I remember a conversation I had with Rach asking, why did you do what you did? Why did you do why does that make sense? Why did you do what you did? And after her reply, I can't remember what you had said to me, Rach, but I think you had said something like, I was scared of my mum and dad. And then at the end, I don't think I remembered anything. She said, one reason. And at the end, she was like, oh, well, she's here now. So, and I was like, what an arrogant bitch. Is that all you got? Oh, she's here now, so everybody's got to just pick up the pieces for you? How dare you? That's what I was feeling towards her. I'm like, bro, you can't even be accountable for what you did. No wonder why you can't even have a conversation. So I was pissed. I was just like, man, this girl, I can't even deal with you right now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I stood alongside my husband in the aftermath of what had happened. And we struggled behind closed doors. No one knew what was going on with us. We had so much stuff going on in the first couple of years of marriage that, man, that's for another podcast. It's for another day, okay? My energy's running out. But no, that's what it was like from my view. And I'm so glad that we can actually talk about these things now, because
Very truthfully and honestly.
with Rach and I, we also haven't actually had these conversations until a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
About what had happened 20 years ago or whenever it was. Do you remember when this happened? And we could actually tell each other how we felt, right? And I think over the last maybe 6 to 12 months,
6 to 12
that's
months.
been us. We've been actually debriefing and having these conversations and healing over this stuff. But then I was like, well, this guy's still pissed off, Let's have a chat about these things. Let's bring it to the table. Let's tell each other how we feel. And I'm so proud of all of us, of you, Rach, you, Jax, that you guys were able to do that today. So thank you. Because the healing, it's already happening.
All of this is because of you. You realize that, eh? You realize that. I'm just telling you.
Oopsie.
This is you. This is all you. And that's me honoring you.
Wow.
Me honoring you. I do. And like, if you tell someone that you love them, you really do mean it. I mean it when I tell people. It's easy to like flick out all the I love yous, but but I genuinely love this woman. I really do. Like right here to my heart space. You know, if it wasn't for her in being who she is and question and asking. Sometimes I'm like,
yeah, tell me what, like, tell me your response to some of the things that I say, because
like, I like to think she's younger than me and I'm older than her, and I'm like, what are you asking me these things for?
In other words,
yeah,
like, do you want to know? Like, what's in your business?
Like, I think there are times just like, man, this woman's asking me everything, but I can say that she asked because she wants to know. I mean, if you want to know something, you ask someone, and she was quite, like, she was very, very forthcoming to asking me, and like I didn't hesitate in answering her at all. I gave what she asked, and I feel like being an older person, like, how old are you?
I'm 39, guys. But I feel like I'm 19. So I'm 19.
As old as you feel.
How old as you feel? Like, she's 39. I am 42. I have learned from her. Like, she is of a fresh meaning to your generation as well as to mine. I'm learning from you. All I can do is tell you of me hopefully in a way that it's teaching you something back in return.
Huge.
Like, I'm not here to like mother you or stand over you. I don't feel that way. In a way, like, I step back and her first, because I feel like she is the bonus mum, and she deserves to be before me. I've done the start. Now I place her before me. And I honor her in that way for being the woman that she is. Like, there are no mums out there that will say that. Because we are mothers, and women, we're supposed to help each other, uplift each other. And that's what she has done for me.
Oh, cute.
No, you're welcome. You deserve, like, because I'm telling you right now, there are the bonus mums out there. They don't get no recognition from the actual mums. Some of them out
Thanks,
there.
Rach. And I think if we spoke about this week, is that we are changing the narrative between bio mums and step-mum bonus mums. Huge.
Like, if you've heard me, I've never ever called Julie stepmom. I don't think I have.
I think you have.
Maybe in the beginning.
Maybe once.
Maybe in the early here.
In the beginning. Yes.
In the beginning I did, but then over time I was just like, no, it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right to me
either. Actually, no, it didn't feel right to me, like, after the first stage. Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel right to me, and like, no, this woman deserves this. Here with me. You know, I'm not, like, just because I am the birth mother doesn't mean anything to me. You know, it means more to me when she's beside me, because we shared in this. This is just as much her story as it is mine. You know, I didn't get to say any of this stuff at the 21st because I was just like, but I do. I love you and I honor you. And I think I said this to Paul. Like, out of all my friends, I think of you. You know, you have your close friends and, you know, circle of friends, but you are the first woman that I could be me.
Wow.
Be me. I can be me. I can tell you everything about me. Could never tell my mum, my dad, my brothers, any of my siblings, cousins. I can tell you everything about who I am in truth and in very big detail. Feel like you are the best friend that I needed in this life today. You were the one. And you can have as many best friends as you want, but not like this one that shares you the true intimacy about your true life, your actual life story. And like, I feel like, you know, believe it or not, me and Julie, like, we call each other, we'll ring each other about all these things leading up to Tamika's birthday, right? Like, hey, just to check in, blah, blah, blah. We're on the phone for like 2 to 3 hours. Like, legit, like, you know, in the afternoon.
The last few conversations we've had, right? And I'm sure Rach is like, oh no, she's calling. She knows she's going to be on the phone
Like, for a long
for like 3-4 hours when I ring. And that is literally what has happened over the last 6 months, because we are talking about stuff, debriefing.
Yeah.
And it's been so beautiful.
Like, this is the stuff that no one knows about us behind closed doors, like, from, you know, from what you already see or whatever socials that our child posts us to.
Yeah.
But this is real. This is the truth about who we are as two mums with our girl. We are a great example for those that are out there, that you can share, you can have this role together. And like, building this relationship, this friendship is something is very quite dear to my heart. Very dear to my heart. So, you know, if you guys talk ish about her, I'll hurt you. You know, that's how I feel about her. So basically, you are my best friend in life, and at this stage as a mum.
All right.
As a mum. Yeah, I do. You have no idea how meaningful it is. I'm so grateful that Jackson found someone in you. Yeah.
Blended mum goals.
Yay! It is. Hey,
But
it is.
the truth is, I never knew I could be this. I didn't want to be this, you know, but I'm this. Oh. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool chat, guys.
Very good.
Doing all right in that corner? Doing all right in that corner?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Any last words or anything else you want to touch on?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Stir up that heart of yours and let it out.
What?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good, thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Rach?
No, just I'm grateful for this opportunity. And this lifetime with the parents, with us. I'm grateful for our own individual stories and our own perspectives on what this looks like to us. And it is a closure for me. A closure for me. It is closure for me. It is big closure for me. So, you know, it's like a blessing. Like, I've been on a massive healing journey for a very, very long time. It's big, like, because I needed to be who I've always meant to be.
Yeah.
So I think all of this has brought me to this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is on top of the pillar for me. It is. It really is. With yourself, Jackson, and Paul. Like, I couldn't have done any of this without Paul. Poor guy's been the punching bag, the shoulder. You know, he honestly, like, seriously, this dude, like I would ask him so many things or opinion on particular things with us. He goes, man, you're an asshole. Ask a lot of questions. And no, I was like, he's been amazing in all of this. He really has. You know, he doesn't say much, but he always speaks open and honestly, and will always be truthful. He will not hide anything from you. He just can't. It's not him.
Yeah.
But thank you, babe. Thank you. Yeah, no.
Cool. Any last questions?
I'm good if you guys are good. Still marinating a bit.
Hey. Ooh. Like, my face is heating up.
Doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't look like
Wow. I just want to thank you again, Rach. Thanks for coming on and telling your truth. Babe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for opening up. I know it's been hard for you. So it's a huge thing for you to be here today and say what you wanted to say.
Well, could have been some more colourful words, but you know.
But we're in a better place now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, back then I had more colourful words.
I'm sure you would have.
How many
Like-
times have you rehearsed that in your mind, like how you would have?
Oh, heaps. Heaps of times. Like, 'cause never had the opportunity to have the conversation. And Rachel's never said sorry. So,
So is there more that you want to say?
it's all good. Like,
Does it feel healing and like closure for you to be able to have this conversation?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I've never heard her say sorry about what happened. So, yeah, it's no need to use colourful words just to waste the energy,
That's it.
you know.
Maule mai maule energy, eh?
Question,
Save your
hey,
energy.
It's all good.
did I apologise today?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
did
did.
I? I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can say it again if you like. You know,
I'm very sorry.
you feel a lot more meaningful.
No,
Oh,
no. Like, no, I
One
am,
sorry's
you
enough.
know.
It's fine.
I am.
It's
I am.
it's fine. Like, it's yeah.
Look,
I
if you want to
just
say sorry again, then I'm going
don't want
for
to
it.
waste energy on using colourful words when you know, and a lot of inner work has been done to be in a better place.
Yeah.
It shows
Wanna
the
have-
level of growth and maturity,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you just want to have just better conversations. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I was thinking sitting here? And I was like picturing, obviously I wasn't in the equation, but picturing you guys as younger versions. Like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
literally
Oh, don't
was
picture
just
me.
seeing you guys at the
No.
younger version.
No,
But I seen healing today. Like,
Wow.
I just seen that young Jackson that, you know, felt alone at the time or wasn't afforded the opportunity to take delight in the coming of your daughter. But I also seen just the healing, that turnaround for all of yous today, all of yous. And you come into the picture, you're still very young as well, Jules.
Yeah.
And even Paul being the pillar for Rach. At 4 years of age, that's when you met Tamika. So very early on, you guys, these are veterans in this story, you know, there's like, you're still very much a part of that story as well. And being able to hold up Rach in the time that she needed it as well. But I literally saw you guys as younger versions today. And to see that transformation of a breakthrough, that healing, like the power of conversation, the power and the
Right.
healing of being able to lay this on the table today and just break through that. Wow. thanks for letting me take part in this. Like, that was amazing. It was.
Thank you for agreeing to be here.
Yeah, no, you will be doing this all on your own now. But like, it's just so like transformative to sit in front of you guys and see that and see where you're at today. But also like, now the trajectory's changed, hey, for Tamika, because
Yeah.
you're going to see 4 parents come together, get over their bullshit, and really come together and connect, but really like each other. Like,
Yeah.
that's, you know, you don't have to like
Genuinely,
each other.
you
when
know,
you're
genuinely.
co-parenting.
Whereas before it was
Exactly.
like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, like we're working together, but oh, please. Do I have to? Do I have to do drop offs? You know what I mean?
That's right. But you
Yeah.
genuinely really want to care about each other and have that connection. And that's all happened over this one miracle, one life.
Absolutely.
And it also, what also really rung today too was like, it's really important who you get in bed with. Like,
Oh my God.
can you imagine, like, you're talking about not having the education around like pro-life, like, or like, you know, family planning, abortion. You didn't even know what sex could do. You didn't know that, you know, engaging in sexual intercourse could lead to pregnancy.
Yes.
There's so much there that your younger versions did not have the information or the education around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really important. What I love what this stands for, and adding value, as you mentioned earlier on, was that it's really important who you get in bed with, who you parent with. And it's really sexy and cool to have a conversation around what it's like to parent, what the type of style of parenting that you want to have, or, you know, interject in your life. Like, it's really important. That conversation is cool and sexy. Like, that's the new it, guys. If you don't know, you need to get amongst it. Just to educate yourself on, you know, parenting. Educate yourself on, like, healing and doing the work, because imagine if you didn't have the trauma that you were dealing with, how different that story would have turned out, you know.
Totally.
Even with Jackson, and not, you know, he at the time was saying that he was very present and available, but, you know, that conversation didn't take place. But imagine that you know what you know now, but back then, you know, how different that would be. So, like, what I love about this podcast is that it's very important. It is adding value, because it's not just about this blended family here today. It's about real life issues.
It's bigger than us.
It's bigger than
Our
us.
story is actually bigger
Exactly.
than us. It's not about us anymore. It's about people out there who need to hear our story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And and what you model, not only to Tamika, but your other kids and the
Yes.
kids before,
My
you know, and
goodness.
Yes.
generations forward. Like, yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me on. And I wish this nothing but the best.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.